Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. This is your WWE Hell in a Cell 2016 thought/review. I'm your host, LK from KocoSports.net and LK VIP, and thank you for joining me with your post WWE Hell in a Cell 2016 review. If you're listening to us live, put in the comments, do you give this show a win? Do you give this show a loss? Or do you give this show a tie? I myself give this show a strong tie-weak win. I did enjoy the show for the majority of the part. What did help a great deal was the aspect that the show started an hour earlier because of the time conversion, because our clocks went back yesterday. So right now it's 3:23 instead of normally being 4:23. That probably did help. But as a whole, I enjoyed the 3 Hell in a Cell matches. I thought the worst one was Rusev and Reigns. The best one is a tie, because I loved Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, but I also loved the women. Both were different. Both were good for different things. So we'll just get straight onto it. 22nd or 29th of October from Boston, Mass. So we started straight off with a Hell in a Cell match. I didn't watch I did watch it, but I didn't take any notes. I don't want to give you any wrong information. However, Cedric Alexander, Lince Dorado, and Sin Cara got the win for the two of you that care out there. So, Hell in a Cell match, straight off the bat. US Championship match. They called this a triple main event. And the way it was laid out was you'd have a Hell in a Cell match, 2 to 3 matches, Hell in a Cell match, 2 to 3 match, Hell in a Cell to close the show. That's all well and good, but when you're calling it a triple main event, I would have preferred, I know the crowd needs time to calm down. I respect that. I do appreciate that. But if you actually had the 3 Hell in a Cell matches at the end, you wouldn't have had to lift the Hell in a Cell up. You wouldn't have had to lift the Hell in a Cell up and then quickly change the ropes to purple. You wouldn't have had to do that. But anyway, so Rusev and Roman Reigns is for the United States Championship. Michael Cole, believe it or not, I thought did a great job of putting over the actual Hell in a Cell structure, considering for the past month, ever since the last Raw pay-per-view, they've done squat to actually make the, minus a Foley promo on Monday night, to actually make the Hell in a Cell feel like the fucking Hell in a Cell, you know, the demonic structure that JR used to. And times like this is when I do miss JR, because he's a great storyteller. He used to make me feel that, oh my god, then this cell is fucking dangerous. Like, and what I didn't like is Rusev and Reigns, when they came out, they weren't scared. They were angry. And even though that's their characters, Kevin Owens' character is a badass motherfucker, etc., the prize fighter, you know, he came out and he looked petrified. He looked scared. He looked nervous, same as the females at the end. That's what I want to see. I want to see them scared out of their heads, because they don't, especially Rusev. This was his first ever cell. And he should have been shitting himself. Anyway, I've got a few nitpicks about this. Will cover the whole 3 Hell in a Cell matches. I can't grasp. Like, I talk about believability a fucking whole load. A stupid amount I talk about believability. A believability of a man or a female being thrown into steel and you not bleeding. I just can't believe that. I can't. I'm sorry. There was times where he was thrown face first into the cell, grinded, steel steps to the head. No blood. And also, they spent 5 minutes, as I said, gave Michael Cole props earlier on, about selling the cell, making the cell sound destructive. And then Corey Graves go, and I quote, "These 2 heavyweights will destroy the cell." No, the cell will destroy these people. The cell won't break. Nothing will happen to the cell is what's going to demolish these people. I didn't like that. So Corey Graves, you need to shut the fuck up. There was loads of chair shots. There was kendo stick stairs, punches, lots of punches. This was a typical Attitude Era style main event. If this was on the main event of the Attitude Era, you'd be thinking, oh, okay, that makes sense. Reigns, there was a really, really lovely sequence. So it would counter, then Reigns hit a Superman punch. Reigns then hits a Rosasaurus hits a super kick and launches Reigns headfirst into the steps, which are lying on the top turnbuckle for a 2. Good near fall. The crowd were really into that. Rusev then applies the Accolade, and Reigns escapes, goes for a spear, but Rusev super kicks. Accolade with the chain. Again, he did this, and it just blows my mind. Can someone out there please inform me, please, why doing the Accolade on the steel steps is more devastating than doing it on the canvas? Because he spent so much time dragging and grabbing him and putting him on the steps. Why couldn't if he just went boof, instead of dragging his body? Like, how much energy that took to grab him and put his body on there when he could have just done it from the beginning. Who knows? It's just, I guess, the imagery of being on the steps and with the chain. By the way, I love the chain aspect. That was beautiful. The way he was yanking it and the visual and the camera angle. WWE usually have shit camera angles, but for that, They did great, and I liked how there was holes in the cell so that the camera could go in, because I don't particularly like the visual of it outside the cell. I want it to be inside the cell. But anyway, I play with the chain. Reigns gets out of a Samoan drop onto the steps, and then he hits a spit. He spears Rusev off the steps to get the win. Decent, good, not great, not bad. Here's a question to you all. Here is a fine question. So get your keyboard or your phone or whatever the fuck you're using to watch this, and type this in. Would this match have been any different at all, if there was no cell? Would this match have still got the same rating? Would it have mattered? They didn't need the cell. They didn't. They did not need that cell. They used the cell a few times. It wasn't a part of the match. It wasn't a part of the story. They just used it because they could. But it was like a 2.5, 3-star match. If you went higher, I wouldn't blame you. It's just, as I said on the preview show, it's just I don't care who wins. If Reigns wins, good God, I don't care. If Rusev won, good God, I don't care. I'm happy that Reigns won because hopefully he can put this feud to bed. Speaking of bed, Bayley and Dana Brooke. And, you know, Dana, she confuses me. Okay, she comes out every week wearing different type of gear. Sometimes it's trousers, sometimes it's leggings, sometimes it's the holdy thing. So she confuses me, so I get mixed up with who she actually is. Wear the same gear all the fucking time like everyone else. And again, this is the story. This is what lets this show down. Is the Raws building up to it? Because when you're sat there and you're going to get yourself emotionally invested in the match, and then you look and you actually think to yourself, what has WWE done to make me interested, to make me excited in this? Nothing. They had an arm wrestling match which got a "this is stupid" chant, and now for some reason I care about this. No, I do not. Oh, what a build. What a build. Unbelievable. Why should I give a shit about this match? Okay, I'm not Boom Boom. Boom Boom is Bayley's biggest fan. I'm not Boom Boom. I like Bayley. She's not my favorite, but she's not, my least favorite. And the crowd are dead. Like, it's dead. Like, dead. Like, dead. Unbelievable. Bayley gets the Bayley to Belly to get the win. I refused. I refused to watch this match. So you know what I did? Ordered myself a Chinese because I'm a good boy. As a leftover chicken chow mein, I'm a huge fan of that. Half a star because I'm generous, and because I'll give it a star because I did enjoy the chow mein, to be fair. Then Stephanie and Mick, they're in the office. They're promoting the 5-on-5 Survivor Series, as well as Goldberg versus Lesnar. And Stephanie goes, Goldberg. I'm like, you cringy whore. You cringy whore. Jericho puts Foley on the list again for interrupting, and basically he tries to get him and Kevin Owens onto the 5-on-5 Survivor Series matches with Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. And Foley's like, dude, just stop worrying about that. Let's get your best friend through tonight first, and then we'll decide that. I like that because it's basically saying, look, we'll talk about that tomorrow on Raw. I wish he said we'll decide that tomorrow on Raw, because I always like this. I talk a lot about promotion. You should always be promoting the next show. I don't care if it's a WrestleMania. WrestleMania should still be promoting the next show go on, because it's never ending. It's a never-ending realm of a universe, and Vince probably just cummed in his pants hearing a fucking internet reviewer saying the word universe, but it's true. They're in their own universe. It's not a season. It's constant content. And this leads straight on to my next. There's the show called Raw Talk, which I'm actually competing live right now with, who are they're obviously fucking smashing me in viewership-wise, and probably taking a lot of views away from us. So that's why, obviously, if you're listening to this on demand on the YouTube channel, thank you very much. So much programming. Like, dude, so you got 3 hours of Raw Talk for half hour, 2 hours of SmackDown, talking smack, 1 hour of NXT, 1 hour of main event, 1 hour of superstars, house shows, documentaries, breaking ground, cruiserweight classic, ride along. So much content. Fuck. This week in WWE, there's so much. Unbelievable. They love making content. Like, if they could literally, I think they would be happy if they did content 24/7. Vince would like, I don't sleep. You can sleep when you die, you son of a bitch. Oh, honestly, Raw Talk. Inventive name. It probably took them 2 weeks to figure that out. Then we had Enzo and Cass versus Anderson and Gallows. Well, Anderson and Gallows got the win. That's a shock. Let that sink in. Yes, I'm not lying to you. If you don't believe me, if you didn't watch the show and you're using this because you didn't watch it and you watched the World Series in baseball, whatever the fuck that is, I'm English. Anderson and Gallows got the win. Beautiful. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, you beautiful man. Finally, after all these, they're 3-time IWGP heavyweight tag team champions and they're global icons in Japan, but can they make it in the big time in WWE? Enough of that bullshit. This is a great team if you build them properly. Simple. Build them properly then. That's all you damn ask for. Enzo and Cass, I'll give it to them. They're great on the mic. Their promo... with Americans, I really should get more into American pop culture just to see what the fuck's going on, because these, like the New Day, when they come out, they cut their promos. Woof, over my head, I have no fucking idea. The crowd laughing, so I'm just like, yeah, he's laughing. Yeah, it was a good one. But they are really good on the mic. Like, really good. Gallows did hit a nasty clothesline on the floor where Enzo landed quite weirdly. Enzo's your face in peril. That makes sense. He's the smaller of the man. Cass gets your hot tag. He clears house. Enzo's goofing around doing these dance gimmicks when Gallows super kicks his head off, and then the Magic Killer to get the win. I'm happy. Anderson and Gallows got the win. I pray they don't do a rematch and have Enzo and Cass go over, but is it too little too late? Can we still, maybe they could be the way I would do this? Okay, so you have not Enzo and Cass, fuck them till Mania. Let's fuck them till Mania. Anderson and Gallows need to rebuild starting now. You've hit the button. Buttons hit. You need to rebuild these guys. This is how I would do it. Okay, Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Club are in Team Raw for the 5-on-5 tag. It's down to 5 SmackDown, 1 Raw. They become the sole survivors by defeating all 5 teams. Boom, stars, boom. Then have them challenge the New Day after they've become the longest reigning tag team champions, which is after a pay-per-view, so it's after a Raw. Then have them beat them. Then have the Club run till WrestleMania. Then you could do Enzo and Cass finally getting their big win at WrestleMania over the Club. Simples. Star and a half, though. Nothing too bad. Then we had our second Hell in a Cell, our second of our 3 main events. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Universal title on the line. Kevin Owens defending against Seth Rollins. What they did here is what they didn't do in the opener. Kevin Owens came out. He's looking. He's like, oh, shit. He's looking around. He's nervous. He's scared. He's anxious. He's never been inside the Hell in a Cell. He's walking slowly because he's thinking that he's taking his time, letting it sink in, and great job there. Great selling of the cell. You need to sell the cell because then when you hit it, it kind of means a bit more. That's just in my opinion. Anyway, the champion came out first. Big issue with that. It's a sporting event. You sometimes make it feel like a sporting event, and how hard is it just to have your champion enter second? It's really not difficult. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, Rollins' back's taped. Story of the match here is Rollins' back. So Owens hits a back splash or a senton to Rollins' back. He does that twice. Owens grinds Seth Rollins' face like this. Like grinds it really hard into the cell. No blood. Issue. Like if you don't use the cell like that, I'm going to kind of forget about the whole blood aspect. But if you're going to do that, if you did that to a real... I talk about believability all the goddamn time because I do care about that. Believability. A man grinds another man's head into steel. That man is going to bleed. Simple. Jesus, that was a beautiful spot where the camera work was amazing again, where Kevin Owens basically launches Seth Rollins through the second and third rope, face first into the cell. He bounced off the cell, landed really hard on the floor. Rollins, for a lot of these... I don't want to call him out or anything, but on lots of these things where he's getting thrown into the cell, he doesn't put his hands up. So was he actually trying to bust himself open the hard way? That is a possibility. Really is a possibility. Owens with a cannonball into the cell. They had an incredible sequence of counter to counter into a big clothesline from KO, which received a standing ovation. Really was nice. Rollins hit a Falcon Arrow on the apron, and the thud, it was like, boom. Oh, dude, that gets this is awesome. This is awesome. is awesome. Chant of the night, go fucking fuck yourself. Rollins hits 2 Tape Suicidas. Kevin Owens gets the ref with a fire extinguisher. So basically, he's on the outside. And he's like, he's trying to get it to work. He's never, Graves did a good cover up of, he's never used it before. So he goes and sprays it all the way in the ref's eyes. Jericho then comes in. He gets himself in, as well as the new ref, which I thought was very smart. Owens then teases the package pile driver. And he's there, and it literally looks like he's about to drop, but then in mid-flight just twists it into a sidewalk slam. Good tease. Rollins. Oh, that's a proper English way of saying, isn't it? Rollins. I'm Seth Rollins. I'm from England. Beautiful. And then Rollins power bombs Kevin Owens over the top rope onto basically a table normal, and then a table leaning on that. Really nice spot. Owens took that like a man. Rollins in like basically frog splash, but Owens was facing him, so he had to transition in mid-flight. Really, really nice. That got a 2, but why 2? Because Jericho pulled the referee out. Rollins then buckle bombs Jericho into the cell, and you got a nice look of Chris Jericho's ass crack. Kevin Owens hits the super kick and a pop-up powerbomb for 2. Good near fall. They do a 2-on-1 beatdown. Dirty spike DDT onto the chair. Powerbomb through 2 set up chairs, gets the win for Mr. Kevin Owens. They are going to be sore tomorrow. They're going to wake up on Monday night, wherever town they're in. They're going to go like that, and they're going to go, ooh, better not do that. Let's get back to where I was before. Let's go back to bed. Much better than their Clash of Champions match. That must be said. I'm speaking with a friend at work, and he was more looking forward to Reigns Rusev, not because he likes them, but because he thinks that their stars match best. And I was thinking, no, Rollins and Owens will be better. But he then used a good excuse. Like, hey, Clash of Champions, was that match shit or was that match shit? It was pretty shit. That being said, much better than Clash of Champions. Give yourself a Dave Koco, Barry Horowitz. After the match, Jericho codebreakers Rollins. I don't know what's going on here, what we're setting up. I'm confused. So I was thinking Jericho's going to turn on Owens and we're going to have a Jericho and Owens program. But then Jericho didn't turn, unless they could save the term for tomorrow for Raw. I mean, they could do, but it's Halloween, so their numbers aren't going to be that great. I don't know. Well, they got Goldberg, so fingers crossed. But it was a 4-star match. I generally enjoyed it. And then we had the Cruiserweight title on the line. Brian Kendrick, the challenger, versus TJ Perkins, the champion. The story for this one basically is Kendrick, he wants TJ Perkins to lay down and let him win. And the video package they did was that Brian Kendrick on the pre-show, or the kickoff, as they call it for some reason, he basically goes up to him and goes, can you lay down for me? After all I did for you, I just need you to lie down for me. Like, Jesus Christ, the crowd are dead. Dead again. Like, proper dead. Cruiserweights always get given this death spot. Put them on the fucking opener. Opener, boom, that's it. They should always just be the opener. Get the crowd into it. Jeez, they really did give him the death spot. Kendrick, I do like how he ties TJP to the bottom rope and then kicks a shit out of him. TJ Perkins hits a nice corkscrew slingshot plancher to the floor. That was a pretty nice spot, if you ask me. And Perkins is a strange one. He's a very smooth guy. When I mean that, he's a small pro wrestler, but he comes across as a real arrogant cunt. Like, I don't use the word cunt a lot, but I think he's an arrogant cunt. But that's how his character comes off. I can't get behind that. I think he's a cunt. Like, when I look at him, cunt. Turn that man heel. And then a fan, so when they did the corkscrew gimmick to the floor, a fan chanted to TJ Perkins, get a haircut, you dickhead. Well, that was really funny. That probably was the loudest noise. And when you can pinpoint one chant, it's dead. Like, there is more noise in a graveyard. Like, if you went to a graveyard right now, there'd be more noise there than at the fucking event. TJ Perkins applies the knee bar. Kendrick gets the ropes. Kendrick apparently landed dodgily. Well, he basically sold it. He landed dodgily. Dodgy is the word I was going for. After a sliced bread, referee and TJ Perkins checks, but then Kendrick headbutts him and then applies the captain's hook to get the win. So Kendrick's your new champion. I like Kendrick, doing anything and everything it takes to get the win. So I did like that aspect. The crowd killed it for me. Like, so it's only the crowd. It just killed me. The title change didn't seem important because the crowd don't give a shit. It's quiet. It's generally like you could have took the headphones off and you probably would have heard more noise from your fucking atmosphere or the wind. Unbelievable. So 1.5 stars because I'm generous. Raw Tag Team titles. New Day defending against Cesaro and Sheamus. I'm a big fan of Sheamus' entrance when the camera goes like this, and then it just kind of like turns around into him. I really, really do like that. Cesaro's pop is getting bigger by the week. That makes me extremely happy. Big E and Xavier Woods are the ones wrestling, even though they noted it's Kofi's hometown, so maybe have Kofi be in the match. Who am I? Woods is underrated. I'm just going to put that out there. I think Xavier Woods is extremely underrated in the ring. He is. That's not a dig on any of the other New Day saying they're not underrated, because they are. Well, they're over, but no one really talks about, Xavier Woods' in-ring skill when a lot of people talk about Kofi and Big E. So I just want you to know, Xavier Woods listening out there, you have my approval. He can now sleep happily tonight. He was the face in peril. Big E gets the hot tag. But fundamentally, that's great. Like, I'm a big, big fan of tag teams with a big guy and a small guy. The small guy is the guy who gets beaten on. He gets hot tag to the big guy. The big guy comes in explosive. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what Big E does. He gets the hot tag. Woods hits a running flip over the top to the floor. Sheamus goes for a bro kick. Big E midair counters into a beautiful powerbomb. Woods hits an elbow drop off the top and literally lands 3/4 of the way across the ring. Really, really nice. Big E then hits a belly to belly into the buckle. Sheamus accidentally bro kicks Cesaro. Woods basically crawls to cover for 2. Good near fall. Sheamus hits a crossbody off the top to the floor. What was he smoking? Unbelievable. Cesaro then applied an insane transition into the sharpshooter. Thought he was going to get the win, but Kofi hit Sheamus with the Trouble in Paradise as Woods taps out. So imagine this. So Cesaro's in the ring. He's got Woods in the sharpshooter. He taps, but as he taps, Kofi hits a Trouble in Paradise, and the referee sees. The ref rings the bell. And I'm like, oh, Vince, I don't love you, you bastard. I was really getting into it. And then I'm thinking, new champion, that he tapped. And then I thought, oh, fuck's sake, Kofi, what are you doing? Because that means Kofi cost the New Day the match, which means the crowd will boo Kofi, but Kofi should be the big babyface as his hometown. That was booked horribly. The New Day came across as heels. The New Day cheated, and then the babyfaces. Hometown boy, and he cheated. I just don't understand. Oh, yeah, they sell loads of New Day merch, but then they be heels. This company just drives me up the wall. Nothing against the wrestlers. That's not their fault. Again, it was like a 2-star match, nothing special. That's the problem with this show. There was the 3 cell matches delivered. Nothing else mattered. That could literally be the title. The Hell in a Cell matches delivered. Nothing else mattered. It was poor. And then we went to the main event. And this is going to be mixed bag reviews all around. If obviously I can imagine lots of you checking out other shows. I could picture them being lots of different ones. I did enjoy it. My God, I was nervous before going in. I don't know if any of you, I was just, oh my God, I just had that gut feeling like something really bad was going to happen. So this is the main event. It is a Hell in a Cell match for the Women's Championship. So it's the first ever women's pay-per-view main event, as well as the first ever women's match to take place inside a Hell in a Cell. No pressure, ladies. No pressure, ladies. And I got at the top of my notes here. I'm literally sat here. I'm very nervous, and I've literally written, "Be safe, ladies." I don't want to, it's different for guys and girls. Actually, I think it's different depending on the guy, and I think it's different depending on the girl, if you ask me. But like me, I don't like women getting beat. I don't like watching Lucha when there's men beating up the women. I talked about that in my Lucha Underground review. I don't like that. I've never have, and I never will. It's just how I've been brought up. You don't hear women. Example, Grand Theft Auto. Until I was obviously older, when my mum when I was younger, and obviously played it on the main TV downstairs. If I hit a woman on Grand Theft Auto, the game would be turned off. That was the deal I had. So at a young age, by the way, if you are a parent, that is a great way to teach your kids. You can have them have fun playing Grand Theft Auto, at the same time actually learn morals. I learned morals from playing Grand Theft Auto. That's how fucking amazing my childhood was. Fucking unbelievable. So yeah, I'm a big no-no for women's violence. So them to kick the shit, I know it's kicking the shit out of each other. It's a dangerous environment. Like, look at Foley. The guy can barely fucking walk. These are women who are about to become parents. I know it's wrong, but the woman's the one who's got to carry the baby and make sure the baby's healthy inside that womb. And I was just really worried, but thankfully both of them are okay, that I know of. Jeez, you wouldn't think it. Excuse me. Let's break it down. get to live comments at the end, so please feel free to put live comments in. So Charlotte comes out. She's got men carrying her. She is the queen. Really fucking awesome. Sasha has a hometown pop. She comes out of security, coming in and escorting her in the car, like what happened at the first NXT takeover in Brooklyn. Again, love the visuals of the in-ring, and then they look up as the cell slowly lowers to the boom, 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 boom. Love that music. I adore that music. And then Charlotte just attacks her, takes her to the outside. They brawl through the crowd. And then Charlotte powerbombs her through the announce table in a horrible, horrible, horrible landing. So her first original landing on the table. So say this is the table. She goes, boof. But as the table breaks, she then goes like that, boof. And it's just a nasty, nasty, nasty landing. So she then gets taken to the front of the cell. Refs get medics. She comes out. She's on the stretcher. The ref's about to raise Charlotte's hand and announce her as the new women's champion, but Sasha Banks gets off the stretcher. She goes to fight. Match actually begins. This was pretty much identical to, obviously not the same, to Mick Foley and Taker, where Foley got pushed off the top of the cell back in King of the Ring 98, and then he got stretchered, but then got back in the ring, or back on top of the cage, just exactly similar like that. Monkey flip into the cell from Charlotte, work in the back and neck, really nasty, the way she bumps. Exploder into the buckle from Charlotte, again the back and neck, just everything was just great psychology. And you guys know I'm a huge mark for psychology. I could give a shit how many spot fests you got. I care about psychology. Banks then applies the bank statement, but Charlotte hits a sidewalk slam onto the apron, working the back. Sasha with a tope suicida, selling it hard because she landed on her back because of the way it bent. Charlotte with a sidewalk slam onto a set-up chair, but the only part of her body that bent was the back, working the back. Charlotte then... Oh, what did she do? She bended Sasha back and around. Oh, that was it. So she was bending Sasha around the buckle. Really, really nasty. Sasha then hits a frog splash off the top for a 2. Sasha hits a double knees in the corner with a chair underneath. Good selling at this point, so the women could barely stand. They sold the cell very well. They made the cell look destructible. Charlotte then applies the figure 8, but Banks gets out of it by hitting her with a steel chair. Charlotte launches her into the table twice. It didn't break, so then Sasha just crumbled to the floor. Out of nowhere, Charlotte, natural selection, bomb. 1, 2, 3, new women's champion. She's now, I think, 14-0 in consecutive pay-per-view wins. She's never lost on a pay-per-view. WWE loves, I think someone sent me a Twitter. I forgot the person's name. They sent me on Twitter saying WWE loves their streaks, for crying out loud. They do. It gets insane heat on Charlotte. Banks can now take some... Excuse me. She could take some fucking time off. She fucking deserves it. Especially after that back. Dude, her back must be killing. That poor girl. I hope they're both okay. Generally do, because that was a brutal match. We'll go to some live comments. This is the part of the show where it's a bit more loosey-goosey. Part of the show. What did you guys think of the Flow Sports gimmick? I might buy that out. I might buy it. I'm not too sure. What do you guys think of that? Type that in the comments. What do you think of Flow Sports? The Flow Slam, which is the wrestling version. There's no live comments. That can't be true. You guys wouldn't leave me hanging like that, would you? Would you? Asked you a question, god damn it. Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. What a time to be alive when your bloody phone stops working. Whose fault's this? I blame Koco. So here we go. Get some live comments if we fucking have any. This is bullshit, by the way. I won't tolerate this. Here we go. So we kind of got progress. Live comments. So here we go. So Justin Givens puts Hell in a Cell rocks tonight. Yeah, it was a good show. Wasn't the best show I've ever seen, but by far from the worst. I'll let you have that. Justin Givens, thank you for watching. Daniel Price, thanks for watching. The only good part of that match was the chain spot. Other than that, it was shit. But for Reigns to just come back and spear him off the stairs just kind of killed it. I thought it was kind of a desperation move, like he had to do that or he'd know he would have lost. Scott Duplican, no difference at all. It must have been in conversation. Daniel Price, LK, it was flat. The cell was just a prop. They also advertised a triple main event, but it was the first match. Yeah, I was touching on that earlier. You can't really say, oh yeah, it's a triple threat match. However, there is a catch. They're going to be spread throughout the show. Well, that means it's not the main event. The main event's that, like Punk said this on one of his things, The main event is the match that goes on last. Whether you could say every match is a main event, but the main event is the one that goes on last. Billy Falco, thanks for watching. And the finish with Rusev getting the win. Yeah, but then we'd have had to see another rematch. Think about that. Agree, should have been like an old Nikita Koloff heel chain spot done. Trevor Stevens puts on the Roman Rusev match, cell does not matter. Question there, Trevor Stevens. I agree. I do agree. Daniel Price, you want the Cesaro Roman joke? Good man. I didn't get it. Daniel Price, Vince is just using Bayley versus mid-card filler for pops to try to keep the crowd into it. Yeah, you're probably right there. Just give us something to do until Mania time where they do probably Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte again. That's the way I see it. WWE is signing Evie. Oh, don't sign Evie. They sign like her. Sorry. Tickly cough coming. Daniel Price, God, using the pay-per-view commercial for the post-show podcast. That was as cheap and useless as Sasha plugging the network during the contract signing. Yeah, but does that? They just love it, don't they? They love their marketing. Yeah, both teams should have been built and booked better way before this, and Gallows and Anderson should have already been over, but they're going to let New Day eclipse Demolition. They are. So with that being said, I want, as I touched on earlier, Anderson and Gallows to be the sole survivors of the 5-on-5 and then have them win the tag belts from New Day, because that's going to be, oh my God, they were the ones to beat the record-setting champions. Again, the World Series is our championship for our knockoff version of cricket. Okay, so it's baseball. The J-Rock Freak. The pay-per-view was lackluster. All three matches could have been good without the cell. It wasn't needed. I think the women's match, I thought, needed the cell because it just give it that big match feel. Dan. And D-Rocks gives it a tie. Fair enough. Daniel Price agrees. And using not one but two table and powerbomb spots, and two of the three of them is overcocking it. Yeah, I do agree. The cell is more for aesthetics and buy rates these days. Yeah. Like no blood. Like it's just believability. Believability. That's all it is. Powerbomb sort of Owens like Ryback kind of watch, but he saved it. He did save it. He dropped him on his head, but he still saved it. Daniel Price. Okay, they stopped giving a fuck about suspension of disbelief long ago. That's sad, isn't it? Daniel Price. I was surprised they let him out. They let him bust out the package bar driver the couple of times he was actually able to hit it recently. Sasha Banks. I lost the women's. Dude, who actually has an account called Sasha Banks? Literally, who actually has? This shocks me. This shocks me. There's legitimately a person out there who has a YouTube account called Sasha Banks. I lost the women's title. Jesus Christ. D-Rocks. W signing the first Kiwi female superstar Shimmer and Stardom's Evie. Daniel Price. Yeah, they are building to an obvious Jericho and Swerve, but slow. Burnt, and it took too long. They pulled the Swerve of Stars Jericho in like a month. That's true. So they either do it too slow or they take too long. There's never a middle ground with these bastards, is there? Sasha Banks. The Boogeyman return to tomorrow on Raw. You're probably right. It's a fucking Halloween version of Raw. For God's sake. Fuck's sake. Daniel Price. Yeah, he's a bit of a cunt. Plus, most of the casuals and kids do not get the Mega Man intro at all. Bring London back and let the limo actually blow up inside it this time. Well, that's funny. This again from Daniel Price. That was a case of Sheamus and Cesaro won, but New Day are not dropping the belts till after they pass Demolition. Yeah, I can see that. That's a good point. Banzi Samurai. Good review, okay. Hell in a Cell was a little disappointing for me, but that's pretty much the norm right now of Raw shows. All in all, tie from me. It was good, but not good as last year's, which is also disappointing. Yeah, that's true. Thank you for the nice comments there, and it was a bit disappointing, but I didn't really have checked out the preview show. My expectations were not very high. They were quite frankly non-existent expectations. So I was going in with an open mind, thinking, okay, impress me. The woman did, and that leads us to the next one. Pedro Figure. Oh, dude, I went so close to a night where I didn't slaughter one name. I was this close from going the whole time without slaughtering a name. And then Mr. Pedro tickety coughs come back. Damn it. Pedro Figueiredo. Pedro Figueiredo. 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 We'll go Figueiredo. That sounds cool. I am Pedro Figueiredo. That's his name. That's Pedro Figueiredo. He puts Women's Hell in a Cell win or a loss. I'll give it a win. I'd give it a win. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Close. He said I came close. Well, I'll take that. Daniel Price, but yeah, they said they were not going to do a pre-show, just 4 straight up hours, but did a pre-show. Yeah. Again, I was talking about the content. I was actually wrong. So they do on pay-per-view. So on pay-per-view week, so you have the pre-show, which is an hour, the show, which is 3+ hours, a post-show, which is add another half hour. So we're already at 4.5. Raw, you have a half an hour pre-show, 3 hours, 15 minutes Raw, half an hour post-show now. SmackDown, half hour pre-show, SmackDown 2 hours, 30-minute post-show, NXT, Superstars, main event. It's too much. I'm sorry, that is too much. It's too much for anyone to follow. You could be the most hardcore WWE fan and you're going to struggle to really watch that. Oh, unbelievable. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this show. Make sure you check out Dave Koco's book from Amazon. It's called Operation Freakshow. I've got it myself on Kindle, on my phone. I really do recommend it. The first chapter blew me away, dude. Just give that a read if you're into, like, not gory, especially Halloween is a great time to read that book. But any time's a great time to read that book. I want to thank you, though, for listening to the Hell in a Cell review. And I'd like to offer you a 1-week free trial for my VIP Premium Podcast Network, where myself and Sammy are dishing out all the content. You can listen to all these shows on there as well, all the archives. We do a Monday Night War series covering Monday Nitro and Raw and comparing. Every week we do a Raw versus SmackDown show, who wins, who losses between Raw and SmackDown, review them both. We do Lucha Underground review, we do CMLL reviews, Lucha Elite reviews, Ring of Honor reviews, TNA reviews. We cover the whole world of pro wrestling, especially New Japan reviews. We do it all. So even if you're on the fence, I don't know if I want to or not, just give it 1 week, and if you don't enjoy it, cancel anytime. You won't be charged for the first week. That's a guarantee. I promise you that. Thank you very much for watching KocoSports.net. That's KocoSports.net. It's where the world goes to Kakash, home for combat sports and above all, it's okay to be a passionate fan. Thanks to you guys for watching this show. It means a lot. Make sure you all stay safe. Make sure you all stay well. Have a happy Halloween. From this tired Englishman, I'll be catching your asses down the line.